Today we're moving on to conic sections, chapter 5, and we're starting with the circle. The definition of a circle is a locus or a set of all points in a plane that are a given distance from a fixed point. So what we're used to seeing is x squared plus y squared equals r squared, or the radius. So every single point on this circle is the same distance away from a fixed point, and that distance is r. Okay, so this is the general equation when the center is at 0, 0. But if we move the center over to hk, we change that formula, and that formula becomes x, oops, x minus h squared plus y minus k squared is equal to r squared. You might want to take a second to just make sure you know where on your formula sheet this formula is. Okay, so this is the formula for a circle centered at h and k. Notice these negative signs, and let's hope that doesn't bug us, doesn't mess us up. Okay, so now what it says here is we need to find the center and the radius. So now we're just getting used to that formula and seeing what this means if we were to draw these circles. So because there's no minuses or pluses in the squared term, we know that the center here must be 0, 0. Its radius must be, its radius is going to be what we're trying to figure out. We know that r squared is equal to 16, so r must equal 4. And a radius is always positive. We don't have to worry about a negative radius. Radius is always positive. Okay, in this case, I know that the center must be at 2 and negative 2. Notice I said this must be 2 because it's minus h, and then it's minus k. Well, since that's plus there, we know that this must be a negative. Its radius squared is equal to 50, so its radius is equal to the square root of 50, and that is equal to 5 root 2. Next up, this one here. Okay, well, its center, its x value is going to be 0 for the center, and its y value is going to be at 1/4. And its radius squared was 64/9. So its radius must be 8/3. I square rooted both the top and the bottom. Here it says now we need to find the equation. Write your answers in general form. So general form, it looks like this. It's ax squared plus by squared plus cx plus dy. A, B, C, D, E, something like that, okay? So we go down in ascending order, okay? Just to add to that, in order for it to be a circle, A and B cannot be 0. A and B cannot be 0. Because if they were equal to 0, it's like not even having those terms, and then we would just have something that looks like this, which is a line. Okay, so remember that the form we know is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared is equal to the radius squared. So plugging in what we know this has to be x plus 4 squared plus y minus 1 squared is equal to 14 squared. Okay, so now we need to do some foiling and some combining of like terms. Here we get x squared plus 8x plus 16 plus, okay, and this one we get y squared plus 2y plus 1, and 14 squared is 196. Now we just need to write it in the correct order, okay? Remember, we start with our x squareds first. So we get x squared plus y, so then we go y squared. Now we do our x terms. Well, it looks like we have 8x plus 2y, and then we want to bring the constant. So I have 196 and 1. I'm going to subtract. I'm going to get negative 195 and then equals 0. That would be in general form. Okay, let's do it again with this one. We're going to have x minus 6 squared plus y minus 7 squared is equal to 0.25 all squared. Some people forget to square that radius. Okay, I get x squared minus 12x plus 36. And over here I get y squared minus 14y plus 49 is equal to 0.0625. Rewriting in general form, I get x squared plus y squared minus 12x minus 14y. And now I have to combine all of these. Okay, 36 plus 49 minus 0.06, 0.0625. 36 plus 49, 40, 50, 60, 70, 86 minus, so I think I should get 86 minus, so I would have 85.9375, I believe, is equal to 0. Okay, and if I wanted to, I could get rid of that decimal by timesing everything by 1, 2, 3, 4 by 10,000, and I could have this without a decimal as well. So if the question says without decimals. Okay, now we have to remember how we complete the square. We need to rewrite this circle, which is in general form, into standard form. So that's when you have x minus h all squared, y minus k all squared is equal to r squared, to determine the circle and radius. We can only determine, the center and the radius when we have standard form. Okay. So first of all, we need to group our x's together. We have x squared plus y, x squared, minus 8x. And then let's put our y's over here. We have y squared plus 10y. And let's put our constant on this side, so it would be minus 37. And what we're doing now is we're completing the square by dividing the b term in 2 and squaring it. This number is added to both sides. Okay, so negative 8. If we divided that by 2, we would get negative 4. If we square that, we get 16. So what we're going to do is we're going to add 16 to this side, but then we also have to add 16 to this side. Okay, now let's complete the square here. We have 10. Half of 10 is 5. 5 squared is 25. So we need to add 25 there and add 25 here. And the reason we do this is now this whole package here can be factored. This can be written as x minus 4 all squared, right? Because x minus 4 squared is x squared minus 8x plus 16. Okay, this whole little y thing we wrote here can be written as y plus 5 all squared. Okay? And then finally, we just add these constants together. So minus 37 plus 16 plus 25, I believe, is 4. Okay? So from this, we can easily tell its center. Its center is going to be 4 and negative 5. And its radius squared is 4, so its radius has to be 2. Okay? So completing the square, that's something I remember the grade 11s are very good at, and we practiced it. But we always take that middle term, divide it by 2, and square it, add to both sides, and then that will help you factor. Okay? Okay, now it says find the equation of a circle having PQ as its diameter, and it gives us the coordinates of P and the coordinates of Q. Okay, so let me flip my page here. Couple things we need to know. Here we have P, we have Q, and we have M as the midpoint. And there is a midpoint formula that is on your formula sheet you need to look for. So the midpoint of PQ is equal to, we take the x values and add them, divide them by 2, that's our x coordinate, and then we take our y values, add those, 10 plus negative 2, and divide those by 2. So this gives us our midpoint to be 1 and 4. Okay, so what's cool about that is the midpoint of a diameter is at the center of the circle. Now PM or MQ must be equal to the radius. And now we're going to use something called the distance formula. Okay, and this is also on your formula sheet, the distance formula. So PM squared is equal to, we have -4 minus 1 squared. So where did that -4 come from? -4 minus 1. -4. So because we're doing PM, this is -4 and 10, and this is 1 and 4. So we take our x values, we subtract them and square them. And then we take our y values, so 10 minus 4, and square those. Okay? So this is equal to, this is going to be -5 squared, which is 25. This is going to be 6 squared, which is 36. So PM squared is going to equal to 61. Therefore, PM, because we're going to square root both sides, is equal to the square root of 61. Okay? So now we need to get the equation of the circle. Remember, it's x minus the center. We said the center was 1, 4. So x minus 1 squared plus y minus, oops, did I miss that? Y minus 4 all squared is equal to the radius squared. Well, we actually had radius squared right here, or we could say root 61 squared is equal to 61. So that's the equation of that circle. So again, you need to know the midpoint formula and you need to know your distance formula. Okay, last type of question that we have to do is identify the equation is either a circle, a line, or neither. So what we're looking for here is we're looking for x squared and y squared terms. So because this one has both an x squared term and a y squared term, yes, this is a circle. I guess the answer isn't correct. We want circle, line, or neither. Okay, this one right here only has an x squared term. Let's rewrite this. We could rewrite this as y equals x squared minus 7. That is not a circle. That is not a line. That's in fact a parabola. So in this case, we would write this as neither. Another way to say this is A did not equal B. Remember we said the general form was ax squared plus by squared plus cx plus dy plus e is equal to 0. A did not equal B. Remember we had to say for a circle A had to equal B and neither of them could be 0. I think I made a mistake the last time I wrote it, so make sure you have that. This means circle. Okay. I know I made a mistake earlier in the video, sorry. Okay, in this one, I have 3x squared minus 3y squared. This is not a circle because A does not equal B. A has to equal B for it to be a circle. So not a circle, and obviously that's not a line. This case, no, not a circle. We don't even have x squared, and this is actually a hyperbola, but we don't know that yet because we know that's not a line. X times y, no, x plus y could maybe be a line. Okay, so this is your general form. This is something you need to know that should be on your formula sheet. Midpoint and distance formula as well are things you need to know.